actually read minds? Or are you just using me for free space?
All right, welcome to This Week in Nerd History. This is a podcast where we take a look at all the dumb, fun, silly, nerdy stuff from the past, present, and future. I'm Mike, creative director at Dorkly and Lowbrow. Joining us, we've got AJ, production manager at Lowbrow, and the haunting face of The Ring.
Where is this going?
The Ring face. I had to edit that. Yes.
Like out?
And, oh my
because
God.
it was so scary?
Yeah. Yes. And I'm just...
This is the first time we're recording before I get to see the edit. So
Yes, that's right, too. And I'm just...
Did you put me, like, a photo, like
in
take
a
out the back, put me in a closet? Like...
I have the picture. Oh, I know, I should. I know. No, I have you doing that, and then Sal and I just going, please, no.
No!
We've also got Sal, host over at Comic Pop, and the voice of the Crazy Taxi DJ, which we didn't know about, too.
Get in the cab. Let's hit some people. Let's go.
So it is officially spooky season now. It's October, so we got some spooky stuff to talk about. We're also going to be talking about New York ComicCon, VHS Beyond. The trailer is out for that. And we're going to be talking about Lost, which premiered 20 years ago this month-ish or whatever.
Like 20 years ago.
20 years?
Oh, I made up a game of sorts for you guys this week.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have an interview, but I made up a game. It's not necessarily. It's a ranking for you guys. So it's teamwork. It's collaborative. I picked out 6 of the worst G.I. Joe guys based off different criteria. Okay, and then what we'll do. We're making this up as we go, and we can rank them, or maybe just like eliminate. Like this guy's not bad enough, or whatever it's going to be. Whatever you guys feel like it's going to work. However it's going to work, we'll go with that. Let's get started here. This is.
Let's get started. Yeah.
Ooh.
Can you guys see that? All right.
Yeah.
So I got descriptions as well. So I'm a little bit more prepared this time.
Now, I have to say,
Yes.
I'm going to be a little bit biased in this presentation probably because I was in an improv group in college that we called Guerrilla Improv. But when you became a part of the group, you picked a code name that was from an original G.I. Joe action figure. So some of these that you pull up, I might, have in my mind, I correlate with someone who I love very deeply because I love everyone that I did improv with.
What was your code name?
I was Lady J.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And we could like write our own bio. So like I looked at like what the bio was for Lady J and I like changed it so that it was like improv-y. But my favorite bio that somebody had, one person was Tripwire, and their bio was just he's called Tripwire because he falls down a lot. And it was the best.
I should point out, as my, because I'm known for just having like random crap in my head instead of like the names of my loved ones and birthdays. Larry Hama, writer Marvel Comics, actually wrote all the metadata for all the action figure card boxes, like every single scratch of information about any G.I. Joe character on any of those action figures was written by one guy who was just like, hey, we need this guy from Marvel. Just make up everything about every single character and just write all their bios on their action figures. We need like stuff on it. And he's like, okay. So he's like the unofficial kind of like father of G.I. Joe. Yeah, he wrote all that stuff.
I read his work.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
You may be one of the most one of the largest Larry Hama unofficial fans out there.
All right, so let's get started.
Yeah.
So this is in no particular order or ranking to begin with. I'm just going to run through them. Mm-hmm. So first up is DJ. He was a DJ. He was just a radio disc jockey.
He was just a DJ. That's why.
Joined G.I. Joe. Okay. And his like special skill set is that whenever he was in the field or whatever in like battle, if there was just like a busted up piece of machinery or whatever it was, if it had like transistors and like speakers or whatever, he could fashion it into a radio to like call for help.
I thought you were going to say he could fashion it into a mic and a turntable.
There's like hints of that because
Wow West.
They do mention. I didn't have the full card in front of me, but they do mention that like he could transmit stuff with like a basically just like with also a cool
sick beat.
Yeah, it was realistic. That so then
damn, these beats are so fresh.
The quote on there was like after he builds the radio and stuff, once he's on air, it's his chatter that they can do without. So he's just like this annoying like wacky zoo crew
He's a radio
DJ guy.
He's the worst radio DJ ever. All right. All right, how many of these are there going to be? I got to take notes because I have a ton.
I have every single one here. This is
16.
a 17-hour.
16,000.
Next up is Ice Cream Soldier.
Ice cream soldier.
He is a flamethrower expert.
What?
And, yep. His quote.
Ice cream, flame.
So I think this was a later one, so I don't know how long, what was his name? Larry Hama?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how long he was writing them all for, but his line
he
was
ran out.
apparently because his quote was, "Eating ice cream without hot fudge is like fighting without ammunition."
I mean, that sounds
Right.
pretty Larry Hama to me.
The reason for his name is so that
I
when
know.
Cobra hears that G.I. Joe is sending in Ice Cream Soldier, the last thing that they would expect is a guy with a flamethrower.
Okay.
What?
Like,
Why
they know-
doesn't everyone
yeah.
have a code name that's just like, Kitten
Just the
Wrangler
opposite.
and, Trampoline Expert? Like, why do they have... How come literally everyone else has an aggressive sounding name except for Ice Cream Soldier? I think that they just don't like him, and they were like,
Yes.
"We're making him Ice Cream Soldier." Maybe he crapped his pants one day during a training exercise. He just filled his pants with a chocolate sundae, and they were like, "Ice Cream Soldier, get out of here!" And he's like, "What, you guys? This is really not. I'm going to report you to HR." And they're like, "No. This is actually your official nickname." Quiet, shitpiece.
Oh, my God. All right. So that's Ice Cream
Guys at
Soldier.
the bottom.
All right. Crystal Ball. He has an
hell?
extra piece of info behind him. So he worked for Cobra. He was a hypnotist who can sometimes read minds, not all the time. So under special circumstances, I guess.
Just when it's convenient for him.
Right.
Hey, Crystal Ball, come on,
Assuming.
let's do it. I can't. Not right now, okay? Just give me another minute or two. Give me a glass of orange juice. And I can get rid
I
of it.
slept weird. My neck is all.
Don't talk to me till I've had my coffee.
All right, so here's the extra crazy piece. He was created by Stephen King and his son, and the whole bio and stuff was created by Stephen King because he thought it would just be cool to have a hypnotist. But I don't know if Crystal Ball appeared in anything, like in a cartoon or anything like that. Thanks,
They
Stephen
just
King.
made a figure.
They were like, let Stephen King have this,
Yes,
and then we will never
Exactly.
refer to it ever again.
Next up is Scoop.
Scoop?
Scoop was a journalist. He is essentially just like a propaganda machine for G.I. Joe.
Ugh,
His
just the
job
worst.
was to go into battle with the rest of the crew and just film it and then use it for training purposes or pick out footage for good PR for G.I. Joe essentially.
Sure.
This was in his card. The other Joes, he wasn't necessarily liked by the rest of the group at first, I guess.
Yeah, he's filming them taking shits and stuff, probably.
Yeah.
He was considered
is
like
good
a third
footage.
wheel,
He's
and he's
creep.
He's carrying around 60 pounds of filming equipment and not much firepower. He's got just that one pistol there.
We'll forgive you filming Scarlet in the shower for training purposes.
All right. So that's Scoop.
Scoop.
This one is a personal favorite of mine. This is Big Lob.
'Cause
Yep. When Big Lob makes his move, he always shoots to score the big win, which is just mashing every semi-sports phrase together into one thing.
Sportses.
Does he have a cape in the...
Oh, shit, wait. What is that? I don't know. It might be his little
it's
peg
just
stand.
okay. Yeah, no. For a second, I thought it was a cape. It's
That would've been
it's
amazing.
Just
That's
card
a little
backing.
Just a
stand for the
basketball
stand.
jersey with a cape.
Yeah, he wears it.
That's my new costume.
So his
Yeah,
big thing, he
Big
was a
Lob.
big high school athlete, then he joined the Army Reserves. He talks about himself in the third person, and basically his thing was that he could throw grenades very far and accurately while
Big
that's
Lob,
useful.
super
a
accurate.
tactical basketball jersey.
Better than Scoop.
But he is better than Scoop, I'll say that. He's a bit more,
Yeah.
he helps a bit more. And last is Big Boa. Big Boa
Oh,
is a
Big Boa.
trainer for Cobra. So he's like a drill sergeant for them, essentially.
But for Cobra.
Yes, for Cobra. He wears boxing gloves and a big spiked helmet.
And
His thing was-
suspenders with nipples on them.
With nipple clamps.
What is that?
Little-
What are those?
with little spiked nipples on them. From a design standpoint, I remember this guy coming out a little bit later in the toy series kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it really felt like they're just like, we have all these extra things. Let's just throw a bunch of shit together and just see what we can make out of this guy. I was going to throw in the Fridge, Refrigerator Perry, and Sergeant Slaughter, but those guys were actual people.
Those are human beings.
Yeah, those were human beings.
So weird.
Wait, what do you mean they were human? Wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Sergeant Slaughter they made a toy out of him, and William the Refrigerator Perry, who played football for the Bears, they made him, he was like a special, I think both of them may have been like a special like kind of mail-in promotional thing that you just order, you mail out for, and then like, I don't know, 7 to 8 business months later, like it just shows up at your house.
I forgot I ordered this. Or you've been waiting every day.
It's that one.
For the mail.
Yes, it is that one. But it was one of those things where you mailed in like the little proof of purchase type things, like you cut them out off the back of the card and you mail that shit in. All right, so that is our 6. So that is.
Oh man.
Let's just recap the names here. We got DJ,
Ice Cream Soldier,
Crystal Ball, Scoop, Big Lob, and Big Boa. Battle the bigs there.
Yeah. I feel like Big Lob is the most effective. Like Big Lob actually
he's got grenades. That's hardcore.
Stuff. Yeah.
Let's call him number 1.
He doesn't throw water balloons. Yeah.
Of these 6.
Yeah.
So Big Lob is the best of the worst.
Best of the worst.
Easily.
Yes. I do have some love for Crystal Ball. I feel like.
Yeah. His occasional telepathy.
Yeah.
His selective telepathy. I have selectopathy.
Like, does he have control over it? Does he know the conditions in which he will actually be successful? Or is it like hit or miss?
I wish he
like,
didn't.
Today's not the day.
It seems the card specifically said can sometimes read minds. So that would imply that he does not necessarily have control over it.
Crystal Ball, we have Duke. Quickly, read his mind. Oh, not today, man. I'm sorry. I'm just not feeling it. What? I feel like every time that I need you to use your powers, you aren't able to get it going. Can you actually read minds? Or are you just using me for free space?
He's just having people think of true or false questions, so he's getting
he just
it
cold
right.
Reads the room.
He just cold reads them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jester, I feel like you're underappreciated. Oh, it's true. This guy can totally read minds now.
I'm hearing a D. Is there a D in the room? Duke's like, yeah, I'm Duke. That's
I'm
me.
Duke me.
Great. Okay.
Duke knew it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm getting like a strong presence. Are you in the military? Well, sort of. It's a pseudonym.
Yeah, this guy's amazing.
Okay.
Crystal Ball's number 2. I also love DJ because, maybe I don't love him.
I have a soft spot for DJ
I would
because
love
he talks
him more
so much.
if he just always had like a record on his back. And he could like use that as a weapon also.
Sweet.
That would be sweet.
There has to be a sequence where like the Joes have succeeded and they go back to the base and they're partying and DJ is actually being a DJ. I think he's just
Right?
I feel like
What is going on with his legs though?
He's got a bit of like the what is it, like the tubing off the back of the dryer that goes to like
He found a bunch of those and he's like, these will make me look cool. I look like a robot now.
I'm a robot.
Who fucked up the dryer?
Oh, DJ's gotta go. Oh, he should sound like Duffman. So third is DJ.
DJ's 3.
Okay,
All right,
so
what we've got
Big
left.
Lob, Crystal Ball, DJ.
And then we've got Ice Cream Soldier, Scoop, which feels like they should go together.
Yeah.
And Big Boa.
Scoop. They should have like a combo move.
They should have, yeah. Although Scoop is like, he's like the story. But when you first said Scoop, I was like, well, he should be hanging out with Ice Cream Soldier 100%.
Holy shit. So we can have them like, 4A and 4B.
I mean, does Bondage Gary, does he belong at the bottom? Like, I think so. Because I'm like
Bondage Gary,
whatever that last name was.
Big Boa,
Big Boa,
Bondage Gary,
Big Boa. I mean, I do feel like he is the worst.
Yeah, because he's a trainer. He doesn't even go in the field. He's like teaching. And he's also training, Cobra, which is like Saturday morning Nazis. I mean,
he's terrible.
It's awful.
He's the worst.
Yeah.
You suck. We hate you, Big Boa. Yeah.
All right, so Big Boa is the worst.
So toss up between Ice Cream Soldier and Scoop for 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess Ice Cream Soldier should be higher than Scoop because he has a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got a flamethrower and a gun. Like that's a lot happening at once.
Yeah.
Scoop's got his
Yeah.
camera.
Scoop's
And I'm
just
still not convinced that that's
Wait
a
up
gun.
for me, guys. He's got
I know.
tons of equipment.
That's just like a shotgun mic.
Yeah, it's a shotgun. He's like, I got my shotgun. Like, that's a microphone.
Get out of here.
Damn it, Scoop.
What a scoop!
What a scoop. He says that every time. That's how you know he's there.
23 skidoo.
Everyone's like, oh, God damn it, Scoop's here.
Ah, crap, Scoop's here. What a scoop.
All right, so that is our that's our list.
official
there.
ranking.
We've
So
done
Big
it.
Boa is technically the winner / loser here. Congratulations, Big Boa, you big stupid fucking idiot.
No mincing words on this one. Eat shit, Big Boa.
All right, so this is Today in Nerd History. We're going to talk about some stuff that's going on in recent news. We got, in a couple weeks, October 17th through the 20th is the New York ComicCon. Sal, you said you always go to that, right? I mean, it's
It's right around
easy
the
enough
corner,
to get to.
so,
It's
like,
right around the corner, yeah.
I go, yeah.
Do you usually, when you go, do you have like a sort of plan of attack, or is it just sort of like certain things you want to see, or like, talks that you want to check out or anything like that?
Oh yeah, no, I always hit Artist Alley because that's where all the comic book creators are, and I like to meet up with them, get books signed, chat with them up, and maybe do interviews and stuff like that for my own endeavors. I always hit the floor because it's just full of like just chaos and pandemonium. It's a claustrophobic's worst nightmare. It really sucks. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Just that many people, and you'll go on like a Thursday, right, where you're like, oh well, this has got to be the least amount of
I'll be
people,
there.
and you'll be like, this is Thursday. Like, this is horrible. And then Saturday you'll go and it'll be like, oh, I thought Saturday was this is horrible. But no, it's fun. You should go. But it's
If
fun.
you don't like
It's-
touching people.
Oh yeah, if you like bumping into people on a constant basis or being bumped into, you will love New York Comic Con. It is.
If you like
Love
waiting
it.
in
Go
line
check it
while
out.
getting a cold, check out New York Comic-Con. Or any
yeah.
Comic-Con.
Have you had COVID yet? If you haven't, then come to New York Comic Con because
You'll
will
get it.
get it.
Yeah. If you want to get COVID, get a Friday ticket. It's the hottest one for COVID. There's an extra
right.
COVID fee on top of that, but it's worth
Yeah.
it.
A
You'll
person
get it.
with
It's great.
COVID will actually be mailing those tickets out.
Licking the envelope
no, it's
for you.
it's a fun show. I was actually setting up my because there's actually I never do the autographs because I never really care that much, or I'm the first person to talk myself out of doing them. Where I'm like, oh my god, someone's gonna be at New York Comic Con, I should go, and then I'll talk to them, get a thing signed. Oh my god, how much?
I gotta.
$100? Nah, and then I go and I'm like, I love this con. Like, I don't know what it is, but I actually bought tickets to get a couple of things signed yesterday, so it's fresh in my mind. Where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be. Michael Ironside's gonna be there. I'll plunk down $50 to meet Michael Ironside and maybe get him to say like, "Hello, Sal. I was in RoboCop." No, wait, you weren't in RoboCop. No, I wasn't. It was a Total Recall. Damn it!
I would love that have him say that
That's
whole
the
thing.
That's the scene.
Have him do that bit.
You were in RoboCop. I was not in RoboCop. You're thinking of Total Recall. Why am I thinking of Total Recall? Because Arnold's not in RoboCop. That's right. Because you're an idiot. That's why.
Money, please.
You prepaid, right? You paid for this interaction. Dude, there was one New York Comic Con. I'm in the basement because, they shove everyone who needs signatures in the basement. And so you go down there, and there was a line that, went from the wall where their autographs are, down, just this, compared, there were other people next to each other, and, no line compared to this line. My friend Ethan is next to me, and he just goes, what is at the end of this line? Who is the president there? What is happening? And he gets down there and he just turns around and he goes, it's the Green fucking Ranger. The Green Ranger.
Like the original.
Yeah. Who is now passed,
Okay.
unfortunately. R.I.P. But Jason David Frank, great guy, by the way. I met him a couple times and he's very nice. But not in that context. I would never.
No.
Mark Hamill. I saw a line, 2 people in it, pre-new Star Wars sequels. I'm like, oh, Mark Hamill's there. I walk right up to him, and I see the little, price breakdown. And I think it was, $100. And I was like Grandpa Simpson going into a brothel, seeing Bart Simpson. I just went, whoop, and I just turned around. I'm like, $100? F no. And then, a year later, they announced the new Star Wars sequels, and his price went from $100 to $350.
Of course.
I was like, oh, so I'm never going to meet Mark Hamill. Okay, cool. Or that was my interaction. That was nope.
No, thank you.
Or when I met Gary Coleman at New York ComicCon. Back then, it was like the first New York ComicCon ever. It was a Wild West. People were just set up booths. You could just wander up. There were no like handlers and stuff. So I'm like, oh my God, it's Arnold Drummond. I'm like, hey man, how's it going? Shake hands. He goes, hey man, what's going on? Hey, I got a couple things for sale. You know, you could get a signature. I'm like, no thanks. And then I left. No thanks.
No thanks.
I just wanted to say hi.
Just wanted
And he's
to
like,
say
oh,
hey.
because this experience was kind of like, you know, why I'm here is to charge for it. And I'm like, well, I didn't. Bye.
I'm not here to spend more money.
Yeah, whoa, what are you talking about?
I
It costs
spend
like
money to
$100
get in the
here.
door.
Exactly.
God.
I thought that was kind of like
Spent
working
money
at the
to
price.
get in the door. What do I get for free?
Right?
The
me
hard
free
part
stuff.
of like any convention
There's nothing
thing,
for
especially with like Comic-Con stuff. I've been to the New York one a couple times, and that was usually for like we were there a few years back for Explosion Jones, which was like great because we just went there for the panel, and I walked around the floor for a little bit and had a panic attack, and then but when we went
It'll
to
do
we
that,
used to
by
go
the
to
way,
the
if you're prone to them.
Oh my God, the San Diego one. I was crazy spoiled with the San Diego one. As crazy as it was, like we would get to go in early because we had booths set up, so we get to go in early and walk the floor when nobody's around and people are still setting up. But they're like, if there's like a place selling T-shirts or whatever, or like Godzilla stuff or something like that, like I could go. There's nobody there. It's like my own personal Comic-Con. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
But like walking around there, it was a similar thing. I remember going up to the second floor in the San Diego one, and Virgil, the former WWE guy, he was in like he also passed away semi recently, but he was in like movies too and stuff like that. He was not like a major superstar guy, but he was there, and that was the first time I had like been exposed to like somebody like charging for autographs and stuff. I just hadn't been in those sort of conventions or things like that before. But it was that similar thing where I made contact with him because it was like nobody really there yet. And it was the second floor too, it's just not as packed. And I was like, hey, it's Virgil. And like, I have no interest in, I'm similar. Like, I don't collect autographs.
Like,
it's just not
I
my
don't
thing or whatever. And like, I don't want to just pay money just to say like hi or take a picture. That's just not me.
Totally.
But saying Virgil, direct eye contact, and then just moving on afterwards, I'm like, man, I feel terrible.
You're like, I know you.
Yeah. Those are worth so much more than paying for them. Like the incidental, clandestine backroom meetups or accident. Like I almost hurt Adam West at a con in New York once, where I was because I'm just a big clumsy oaf, as you can tell from like any interaction with me, and so I'm talking to my like wife as we're walking the floor, and I just noticed from the like configuration of feet to concrete floor that there were fewer people physically in my vicinity than there had been. And I was just kind of like, how fortunate for me. And then I look up, for a change, and I realize it's because the crowd is parting like the Red Sea because Adam West is trying to leave. And Adam West is wearing like the most flamboyant blazer and sunglasses indoors. And he's just like, he looks
so badass.
like a Kennedy, just like, yeah, like just walking through. And I'm going to power walk into Adam West. And I just go, oh, and he goes, that's right. And then just steps perfectly around me.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. You're moving
that was
for
awesome.
me now.
I almost like slammed into him, and he was like, "This kid's gonna slam into me. Let's see what happens. Like, let's see what happens. Let's wait and see before my bodyguard completely brings him to the ground." But yeah, nothing happened. It just worked out that way. But I was like, I got to meet Adam West, kinda, and I didn't pay a dime.
Kind of.
For free. That'll do it.
I wonder if he does that a lot or if he would remember that interaction.
Yeah. Well, sadly, he would not remember anything anymore because he is also dead.
No.
I know. Who else has
So
died
many.
that we've almost met at Comic-Con?
Who else?
Oh,
is
dude,
dead?
no. I mean, like next to Gary Coleman was Peter Mayhew, the
Yep.
Chewbacca. And
Yeah.
I did pay for his signature though.
There in front, like when you're like, no, thank you. Yes, I'll pay for you.
Yes, it was basically that.
You took the money out of Gary Coleman's
Nope.
hands.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me see that for a second. I got to pay for Chewbacca. I got to tell you, by the way, shaking Peter Mayhew's hand, it was like someone took a pillow, like a down pillow, and just wrapped it around your hand. Like that was
my God.
his pillowy, soft, gigantic, banana hand just wrapped around my mitt. And I have pretty big
Banana
hands,
hand.
but he was just like, woof, and it felt so pillowy soft. I was like, wow, you moisturize? This is amazing.
Was he?
You have to.
How tall was he? Was he 7?
He's got to be like 7 foot, like 2 or something like that. Like he was.
He's sitting though when you're doing this, right? Or
He was sitting. Yes. No, he was sitting.
He's standing
Yeah.
on the table.
Yeah. It's like a lifeguard chair. But I bought a picture of Chewbacca in the snow from Hoth, and I said, he's like, all right, and he signs it. And I'm like, oh, could you write like a custom message on it? And he's like, sure, what is it? And I wrote, could you write Happy Life Day? Because, of course, Chewbacca was in the much maligned Star Wars holiday special. And he gave me this look. It was like, you son of a bitch. And I love those interactions. That's another thing, is if you can give some of these people like a singular experience, because they're sitting at a table, 6 hours, they make $200,000.
I went to New York ComicCon. I went to New York ComicCon in 2008, which was the year
that's
before
a good year to go.
Up came out.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing that affected me, was that they were like, you can see like a preview of like part of the new Disney Pixar movie that's coming out, and we were so excited. I went with my husband at the time. He wasn't even my fiance. We were just dating then, but we went and we were like so excited. We sat in this tiny little theater, and they play the first like 5 minutes of Up, which is
Jesus.
when you
emotional
meet
torture.
Carl and his wife, and they grow up together, and it's adorable, and then she dies, and then they end it, and I'm like, I'm bawling, and I'm like, what the fuck, Pixar? What the fuck?
Anyway, here's the
It
real
was
Up.
brutal.
That's one of like the
so
best
brutal.
like openings in like for me, like in anything, like the best storytelling in an opening for a movie. But
was
pick a
fantastic.
better spot to like introduce, have people feel good
I was
going
like, then
to
I
go
had
see
to
the rest
wait
of it.
like I had to wait like almost half a year to get like what's the uplifting part of
Yeah.
Carl's story.
What's the
Where
fun
does it
part?
go? What the
That
fuck?
was the fun part.
I was promised balloons.
Well, I
That's a
wasn't promised
brilliant
anything.
stealth
I
marketing
just got-
campaign, though. They're like, I saw the first 5 minutes of Up. Oh my God, did you? Yeah, it was
It
emotionally
is.
devastating.
brutal. It's so
like,
emotionally
what?
devastating.
Oh my
I gotta
I
tell
think
you,
it
man,
ruined
this-
my day. I was like,
Yeah, that ruined my day. And I saw the whole movie, and I was like,
That
this
ruined my
sucks.
day.
Like, I saw the first 5 minutes of Up too, and then the last 90 minutes, and I'm like, this movie, F this. This is not worth it. Like, unless they're going to a mountain and his wife is on the mountain, I don't want to
know.
be here.
Let's just watch Sophie's Choice. Let's lighten it up. A little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I want to feel good. Let's watch Requiem for a Dream. I want to get out of this funk.
Yeah, let's talk about
VHS?
VHS Beyond.
VHS Beyond.
I can't remember. This is like the third or fourth, right? I've seen.
There's
bits
a
and pieces
bunch of them.
right?
There's
a
VHS.
bunch, yeah.
There's VHS 2. I rewatched 2 recently because there's so many of them. There's like a
I'm not sure which one I saw, but I was like hooked right away when I was watching it, and then I.
There's 7 VHS movies.
yeah.
Holy
There's a bunch.
shit! Wow.
I've seen 0 VHS movies, by the way.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
really?
Yeah.
Are you like
How
a
are you
horror
on
movie?
on
Do you like horror movies?
Spookos?
I'm not like a horror guy. I don't want to. I do not want to be stressed out at all.
I love horror movies so much, and I think it comes from when I was little. We had like a couple of horror movies on VHS that I would watch like on repeat, and I loved being scared. And then like me and my sister, we would always like watch a scary movie at night, and then we'd throw on like cartoons afterwards to like have a palate cleanser before we went to bed. So that became like a thing that I would do. I would watch a scary movie and then I'd do like watch something really silly to like get myself out of the head. What did I watch at home? I watched it's like so Up.
Don't move the first 5 minutes.
Up, Sophie's Choice now. I watched From Beyond. There's a bunch that were like weird that like years later I'm like I have to like find. From Beyond was really fucking weird. I think I only watched that a handful of times. But I watched House a lot. I don't know if you're familiar with House.
No.
It's so like 1 year.
Oh wait, yeah. All right.
My husband found it like streaming, so he like put it on for my birthday, and I was like so happy. It was like, but now we have like a physical copy of it. I love it. It's this weird movie about a guy who has like PTSD and I don't know if his wife died. I don't know. There's all this weird stuff. I watched it so many times when I was little, but I only remember like the scariest parts that like really like that's stayed with me. There's one part where he is in the bathroom and he opens up a like a medicine cabinet door and it's just a hole and he looks down and it's just blackness and he can like crawl into it and they show it from another angle and then there's this like bat thing that comes at him and then like he keeps having all these flashbacks of the war, but then he's like living in the war and one of the guys comes back and like one of the end scenes is where like he takes a grenade out of the guy's like belt and like pulls the pin, shoves it in his like rib cage and then like runs and the guy like blows up. But there's this whole like thing about like he has this neighbor that is like always showing up with beers and like trying to check on him because I don't know, maybe he was just divorced. I forget all the details that are like story. It's all the creepy stuff.
No, yeah, it's just like little vignettes
but like
of stuff. Yeah.
He realizes that like after a certain time of night, like at a certain point, if it's like I don't know if it's 2:00 in the morning or whatever, if he opens a certain closet door, it's like a portal into another dimension. So the neighbor comes over with beers and they like wait and they have all these cameras set up like pointed at the door and then they like wait and they have a rope and they pull the door open. Like there's all these really fun ideas and it's such cool. It's such a weird, crazy movie. If you've never seen it, look it up, find it, watch it for spooky season. It's one of my ultimate favorites, even though I don't know any of the details.
That's so fun. I don't think I fully realized how many like horror movies I watched as a kid until kind of recently. I was like, my brother, and my sister, like we watched them all the time. Like any of like the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff or like.
Yeah, we watched Nightmare on Elm Street a lot.
Yeah.
The second one especially for some reason.
Any of like the Jason movies or like any of those, even like weirder ones like the Hellraiser ones or Pumpkinhead. Just all these like crazy ones. I was like, oh yeah, we watched a ton of horror movies growing up. The
was
Fly,
a big one in my house.
Yeah,
I watched The Fly a lot.
There's so many memorable, like the part breaking the guy's forearm, arm wrestling him, like just like the second I saw, I was like, that's burned into my memory now forever.
I'll remember this forever.
When he eats and he throws up.
Oh
and
God,
then
he throws up. I know. It's so fucking gross. It's so great.
I feel
when he throws up on the guy's like arm to like, he's like,
so good.
I feel like the reason why I really am reticent to watch a lot of horror movies, why as a kid I didn't really like gravitate toward them, is because at the time Hollywood was producing horror movies packaged as children's entertainment. So like I was watching movies that were like, oh, kid, you're a child. Neverending Story is a perfectly acceptable movie for you to watch. Like Return to Oz is made for you. The Last Unicorn is a movie that's animated. That'll be fun for the whole family. But only you will watch it alone because I'm an adult and I don't want to watch this shit. And then I'm like being scarred. And then they're like, oh, now let's watch something scary. I'm like, I'm watching things made
those
for
are
me,
scary,
and I'm scared out of my mind.
Yeah,
I watched
absolutely.
The Labyrinth all the time as a kid, and I considered that a fun movie. And then I was telling somebody about it and watched it in high school with a friend, and she was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, this is fucked up. And I'm like, sitting there being like, yes, I am now recognizing that this is not a normal thing for a little kid to be watching all the time on their own. But I watched it all the time.
Fucking
Dark
awesome.
Crystal, yep.
I
didn't have a copy of Dark Crystal, but I remember watching it.
Great.
Legend.
Yeah.
I had Legend. I watched that so much. I was obsessed with it to the point that like my friend like bought me a Legend shirt from Hot Topic when it showed like nobody knew what this thing was, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
There's like a picture of her like touching
the devil,
unicorn.
Prosthetic. The makeup is
so
fucking
good.
awesome.
It's amazing. He looks great. And of course,
and he's
Tim
like
Curry
the
made it.
night.
I know, right? Yeah.
And he's like,
so good.
drink.
Yeah. It turns out the horror movies I like are actually called action movies. Like I like Arachnophobia.
You like some
because
drama?
at the end, like John Goodman, the
You like
superhero,
Tremors?
shows up. Like Tremors is fun.
Tremors.
Not like, Pet Sematary, bleak. Starts out stupid and then ends stupid too. Stupid. But I did have a cat that looked just like Church, so
Pet Sematary was one where I don't know if I made it all the way through to it, because I probably did, but the part that just stood out to me was just when the kid slices his
Gage
Achilles.
cuts the Achilles hand. Yeah, that's exactly. Yep.
Forget it, man.
Never
forget it.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm like, wait, so that part is so crucial and also incredibly fragile. Like anything could get me. Like
I don't know why I just thought probably just because it's Stephen King was it was like action horror is Maximum Overdrive, which is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, Emilio Estevez was pretty cool.
How did this get made? Did Maximum Overdrive, and just talking about like how insane Stephen King was in that.
Oh yeah, because he directed that movie.
There's days or whatever that Stephen King has said it that he doesn't remember because he was just doing so much cocaine in the world. It's just like blacking out and while making a movie. Ridiculous. I remember vividly. It doesn't even fully make sense. All this kind of shit.
No,
obviously, but like
I caught it on TV one time, and I was like, because I'm a comic book kid. Guy, I grew up reading comic books, and in the 80s and 90s we were starved for any kind of like live action adaptation of anything. And then one day we're flipping through the channels and the Green Goblin is on the front of a giant sentient truck, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, when is Spider-Man showing up in this movie? Watch the whole boring movie about living trucks, and I'm like, oh. They're not even going to acknowledge it. No one even says Green Goblin in the effing movie. And it's just, I think it was one of those Adventures of Babysitting situations where Marvel's like, license, done. You got it.
Yeah,
$2.
Great.
I don't care. Just get it in front of people. Because I don't know if you know, but is it Adventures of Babysitting where like the little girl's obsessed with Thor? Yeah. And it was like, she was supposed to be obsessed with He-Man, but the producer didn't know who He-Man was. What? But he did know Stan Lee personally, and so he's like, "Well, how about Thor? Everyone loves Thor." And so, and Marvel's like, "Here's all the Thor shit. Put a big wooden Thor on her bedroom wall." And so they went with Thor instead of He-Man. But like, it was obviously He-Man.
I probably would have watched. I think I've only seen it once. I probably would have watched it more if it was actually He-Man because I loved He-Man.
Hell yeah! No, I would have done same thing. Back then, though, I would have been like, I was like, Thor. Maybe Spider-Man will show up. And I was conditioned by like, because like, well, you're watching Muppet Babies, and then suddenly Spider-Man does show up. He's at the end of every episode. There's a whole episode dedicated to Spider-Man. He shows up and he makes all the Muppet Babies into Spider-Man. So I'm like, so that's possible that anything I'm watching at any point could have Spider-Man show up in it and commandeer the episode. So VHS, yeah.
Subtle.
For those of you listening, we just watched the VHS trailer.
Yeah, it ends with.
I don't know what I was expecting.
3 full minutes
but it
of
wasn't
screaming,
that.
and then they're like, maybe they can get him.
Well, the thing is, so like, I was like, I haven't watched this, but it doesn't do much for me.
Because it's all individual like stories, so it can't really,
The thing that I really love about VHS is because there's a bunch of stories, you can take a really fun idea and you can run with it and you can get really into that without having to like build out a whole story. You can just take in a one little spooko idea and go.
I didn't know it was like an anthology show.
Yeah,
I thought it was like
so it's like found footage. So part of the deal with like a bunch of the VHSs before is that like they'll find ways to like put in like the new like tech. So VHS 2 has this one story where a guy is biking and he's recording his footage and it's a zombie story, but he becomes a zombie. So you get person point of view of a zombie going through and attacking other people. It's such a fun idea, and they do such a great job with it. And they do a bunch of things that are like, oh, that's like, there's some really great shots where like he looks down at his arm and then he's like, oh wait, I gotta eat this, and he chews on his own arm and then he pulls away and it's all bloody and like pieces missing. Like they do a lot of really fun stuff with it. So it's a good time.
There's just to tie it in, one of the last names that appeared on that trailer there is Katie Siegel.
Yeah.
I was doing I just finished a project called Dark Corners, and she is, along with Chrissy Fox and Molly Elfman, who's the daughter of Danny Elfman, composer. They're producers on this short series it's animated kids horror shorts that'll be on YouTube. Premiered this month, but if you go to, what is it, darkcorners.com, Dark Corners Films, either on YouTube or Instagram. You can check out like a trailer and stuff or some photos of the short. So I directed one of the shorts on there called The Notes.
Oh, cool.
And that was written by Paul Tremblay. And to an ongoing theme here, Stephen King wrote one of the shorts in this little series as well. So it's super fun. I like the idea that it's like scary stuff for kids too. It's not over the top gruesome or gory or anything like that. It's sort of, in that Goosebumps type of realm of stuff for kids.
Yeah.
But it's great. Like I like that idea. I mean, especially when we're talking about like watching that stuff when we were kids, just keeping that going. It's not full on Freddy Krueger or whatever, but it's introducing
it's for kids.
to
It's
like,
okay. And it's like,
It's weird
yeah. All right, so this is Yesterday in Nerd History, and it is roughly the 20-year anniversary of when Lost premiered. It premiered in late September 2004. It ran for 6 seasons. The pilot, which was like a big deal at the time, I don't know how much pilot budgets are, but at the time, that budget was like between $10 and $14 million for the pilot, which is insane. It was also, too, like a pretty awesome pilot. Like, it hooked in a ton of people for the rest of and like, it... sort of the cast was crazy.
Insane.
Yeah, it was a majority of like unknown people, but they're all very charismatic and like fit their roles very nicely. But also too, like that pilot was so strong that it just kind of had the ability to kind of string people along for 6 seasons because that show just meandered all over the place. And I know they kept going with the stuff of like, we're not making it up as we go. But I watched the recap of what happens and I'm like, they absolutely did not have all this planned out. There's no fucking way. And like they may have had the end of like where they wanted to end up, but like
where they
there's
wanted
a whole,
to be.
Yeah, I mean there's a
bunch of other stuff that's like, what is happening here?
Yeah, like I had forgotten about the whole. I know, Sal, you avoided the show.
I did. I skillfully avoided watching Lost.
Yeah.
I did watch the pilot, and I was like, "Whoa! I am not watching this show because there's no way that this show could last." Like I tend to like watch these shows where I'm like, "This show's getting canceled." I call it the Firefly effect. I watch a show and I'm like, "That show's dead."
If there's a new show, I am so hesitant to jump in it right away because I've been burned with I'm all in on this show and then it gets canceled and I'm pissed as hell and I don't I need closure and I also hate waiting for things. So I like to jump into a show in the 2nd or 3rd season when there's been a lot of talk about it, people are liking it, and enough people that I know and trust their judgment have said, yes, it's good, then I'll try it out usually. Yeah. With Lost, I was able to ignore it for the entirety of the first 5 years. And when the final season was coming out, I had a lot of friends that were watching it. And I had also just moved to LA, didn't have a job, had a lot of free time. I watched all 5 seasons in the course of like 4 weeks leading up to the last season premiering. So when it started, we would have Lost watch parties at our house in our apartment, and people would come over and they'd be like, "Oh, well, what was the thing with this?" And I was like a dictionary because I just like I just watched everything. It was all fresh in my brain. I was like, "Oh no, well, this was when this and this and that, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, I was like obsessed with it at the time because that's my personality. Is that like I got really honed into it. So I was like, "Oh yeah, no, well, this happened with Michael and this and da 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 and blah, 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 blah." And they were like, "Wow, you know a lot." And I'm like, I just watched it all. I didn't know anything about it for years. I just watched it for a month straight. But it was crazy to me how big it was. Like there was several Lost themed like restaurants all over the world.
What?
Wait, did you not know this? There's like a Lost restaurant where there's like an airplane like crashed into the side of like the building, and there's like memorabilia and so. Hold on, let me take
That's
a minute.
dope.
It's like a 5-course meal where they know what you're going to get as an appetizer, but then they kind of lose track of what you're going to get at the end.
Yeah, we know what the dessert's going to be, okay? But we don't know how we're going to get there. We have a loose outline, which we're going to throw away because we have like, well, the restaurant owners are going to get involved, and they're going to tell you that like we don't like the direction of your meal.
So one of the things that I remember most from like when Lost was done was the copycat shows that like quickly followed, where any network was just trying to catch that sort of big mystery thing and there's a big cast or whatever. So I was looking at I remember watching some of these ones, but like I think the first one was Flash Forward. It was like right after Lost. I think it was on ABC. So like the
sure.
Lost season finale or series finale, and then Flash Forward, I believe, was right after it. And it was like, it just wasn't the same shit. This one, it was like everybody blacked out at the same time for like 15 minutes or whatever. And then they wake up, and I think some people could see in the future or were in the future, whatever like that. Whatever, it didn't really matter. But
I watched that. Yes, I watched Flash Forward and I loved it, and I was so mad because it was canceled after one season.
Yeah,
and
so many
like,
of these
it could
ones
only
were all
happen to me
canceled
so
after
much
one
where I'm
season.
like, God damn it!
They just make
I
these
was
big
all
promises,
in on it,
and then they're just like, I don't know. There's another
right,
one,
and they can't afford it. Like Lost bet high. And somehow managed to succeed, but like you can't have like a $15 million episode.
They didn't have to have like a bunch of sets. The whole first season, they're just on an island.
They're just in Hawaii.
They're just
There was The Event, which I don't quite remember what that one was, but it was the same thing, and I think it only lasted for a season. A few years later, there was The Manifest, which was just another plane mystery thing. That one actually lasted for like, I think 3 or 4 seasons.
Oh, wow.
But it's just like another thing where it's just like the plane disappeared for a while and landed, and everybody thought, whatever.
That's
kind
the
of shit.
Langoliers you're thinking of.
There was the one that sort of like started to like lived up, I think, the most to it, which I don't know if necessarily like a one-to-one to Lost. It's a slightly different, but was Heroes, which premiered like 2 years after Lost premiered. And that one, like the big event, like, you know, it had a big cast and like, you know, started off a bunch of careers for a lot of actors. But it was one where like people started getting like superpowers, and then it got crazy after that. But like it definitely was one that was able to kind of catch that lightning in a bottle kind of thing, and it was able to like propel it for a few more seasons, and then it got weird or whatever, but it had some like cool shit in it. It was like,
I have a tinfoil hat theory about Heroes, where it's like I think there was like a producer's style situation in that show. You know, like if you're not familiar with the producers, obviously, you know, make a bad theater.
I thought you meant like a producer on the show. Okay, yeah, I mean,
I mean like the producers, capital P, Mel Brooks, like where you know they were like let's bankroll an watchable musical and then like collect the insurance on it, like because there's no way that they thought that they were going to get like a third season. They were like, oh well, we'll bankrupt it, we'll get our money back, and we'll just be good to go. Like I don't know how you can like make money off a failed like over budget TV show, but I mean like that's the plot of like a 80-year-old movie, so I feel like you could definitely do it. But like the problem with Heroes is people were like, well, there is no law, you know, like, well, we can watch 2 shows, and it's like, oh shit. So, you know, Heroes just like, because I mean people were on board, and then like after season 2 people were like, they didn't just go like, oh you know, it kind of fell off. No, they were like, this show sucks. And they were watching it, and I got a 3rd season, and then it just kept going, and I'm like, and people were like, stop the show. And I can imagine people make green lighting of like Heroes and going like, oh no, they're still watching it. Because you know, we're Hollywood, we have like utter disdain for superheroes at this point, so like we just figured, you know, like a bunch of nerds would love it, you know, like Fringe or Eureka or something.
Yeah. I watched Fringe. I liked Fringe.
Fringe is a good show. So was Eureka, by the way. Maytag Repairman's great.
Eureka. I don't remember.
Oh, that was on like
the town of Eureka. It was like a town.
That was the town with the.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a kooky town. It's like Twin Peaks meets Stupid.
All right, so let's take a couple questions. These questions are from our Discord. So if you're interested in joining the Discord, if you join a Patreon, you can sign up for free, or you can join. There's plenty of tiers. You can get roasted by Sonic. You get ad-free early release videos. There's behind-the-scenes stuff. There's Patreon exclusives, all kind of cool stuff. But you can also join our Discord, and we got a couple questions here that came from our Discord.
Here's has there ever been a short you guys made that you didn't expect to go viral but ended up becoming huge?
Actually, the one that comes to mind is one that we did recently, which is the fake game ads. That one was co-written by me and Ben Joseph, who used to write for Dorkly, used to work for College Humor for a long time, and he's a very successful animation writer now. He works on a ton of awesome shows. He wrote for The Simpsons. He wrote for Wander Over Yonder. Ton of things. I'm leaving out a ton, but I know he works all the time. But we both had the same sort of idea of making something based off of these fake ads, and they're just super annoying. If you're on TikTok or whatever, any of those things, like it's every third swipe is one of these ads. And so we just thought it'd be funny, and like it annoys us, but we didn't really fully think that how annoying it is to everybody. So when we made it, it took off right away compared to like our usual trajectory for videos, this thing took off a lot, like very fast. So, and it just, every comment was like, yes, I fucking hate these things too. Thanks for doing it, all this kind of stuff. So it was like, it definitely struck a nerve with the audience. So that one was a hit. And then we did another one about a month ago, released that one. And that one did better than the first one. And it's still doing pretty well now. So it's just, we're sort of expanding on and complaining about different aspects of those fake games. And so I wrote a third one that's going to jump into production pretty soon. We'll try to get that one out maybe in like a month.
How much has the software you use changed your way of working or turnaround time over the years? Has everything improved, or is there anything you miss?
The software really has not changed all that much, and like our production's just gotten more efficient than anything. We still use, it's becoming more and more like antiquated, is Adobe Animate or Flash. I still call it Flash, which is just an animation software, and we've been using that forever, literally since like the early 2000s when it first really became like accessible on a mass scale. And It's just built for speed and for efficiency, and especially for like the pixel stuff that we do. There's a special like plugin for like a pixel tool in there. It doesn't come normally with the software. So we're just like used to using it in there, and just all of our existing past library, all the assets and stuff like that exist in Flash, and it's already rigged for us and everything like that. So until something like knock on wood, they stop doing something, we'll have to figure out a different workflow for it, but we still would have to use Flash. So that really hasn't changed. The software's changed where it's become more annoying in weird ways or whatever, but like the basics of it are still the same. So we're able to still like
rendering times have gone down.
Rendering times definitely gotten faster and more like reliable. There used to be like maybe like a 70-30 chance that it was going to just crash, or the audio is going to get out of sync with the video after a few seconds. And so
I remember like making stuff in Flash in college, and I made a 15-second video, and it took like 4 hours to render. And then like you would wait 4 hours, and then like if the audio is fucked, then you have to go back and you have to figure out how to fix it, and then you have to wait 4 more hours for it to re-render.
Yeah. So I mean,
things were a lot more painful.
But we also use stuff like Photoshop, Illustrator a little bit, Premiere, After Effects a lot for certain stuff. So it's all evolving in certain ways. More software becomes more like available for more people. But for the stuff that we do, it's always going to be Flash until the wheels fall off, pretty much.
Hey, should we have a segment where we talk about Dorkly hitting 4 million subscribers?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Because holy shit!
Holy shit!
4 million subscribers. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in and for subscribing. It means a lot. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
I'm going to do my air horn.
I don't want to say it's entirely thanks to this show, but I feel like we definitely tipped it over the edge.
I mean, this show was on when
we
hit 4 million. So
yes.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say they like us. So now let's find out if they like them.
But I am going to give credit to this show for all the good things that happen while it is running. For instance, the number of pre-orders on your comic, on the Terminator comic. I think that's entirely due to our listeners. Thank you if you pre-ordered one of Sal's comics.
Thank you so much.
Us hitting 4 million, that's because of this. If anyone purchased Thank Goodness You're Here like we did this week, it's probably because we keep bringing it up.
Yeah.
My husband listened to our episode from last week, and he's like, all right, I gotta do this. I gotta do this.
Yep.
Oh my God. I love it.
Shut up and take
the
my
Dorkly
money.
bump. It's the nerd history bump.
That's it for this week. Thanks again for watching, for listening. If you get your podcasts on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get them, be sure if you haven't already, we'd really appreciate if you left a comment, left a ranking or whatever it is, and it does mean a lot. It helps us out in the rankings. It helps like push it out more to more listeners and stuff like that. It helps grow our audience a bit more. And if you're watching on YouTube, give it a like, maybe subscribe if you haven't subscribed, or share it with your friends. Tell them you listen to 3 dorky friends talking about dorky stuff on Dorkly. It's a big dorky time.
Dorks.
Sal, you got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I guess by the time this comes out, I'm going to be doing a signing at Zap Comics in Wayne, New Jersey for those Terminator books that we were hawking not too long ago on October 9th between 5 and 7 p.m. So if you want to meet me, I don't know why you would, but you can get a Terminator book out of the deal, so come on by if you're in the New Jersey area. That'd be fun. And we'll be at New York ComicCon, so hopefully we'll see you there.
That's so cool, though. Actually, just like take a step
Thank
back
you.
and think about that. That's so fucking cool.
I know. No, dude, I'm when I have it in my hands, I'll probably cry because that's what kind of a person
man,
I've
it's
become.
fucking great. It's fucking awesome.
My name is buried somewhere in here. It's not on the cover, obviously, because I mean, we're not going to do that, but it's in the back.
Oh man, that is so awesome. Seriously.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
AJ, anything you want to plug?
I want to shout out. I'm going to plug and shout out to our listeners because you really do. You help make this fun. Like, we have fun anyway, but reading your comments, seeing what you guys think, your responses are really fun for me. So thanks, guys. We like you, and we hope you like us.
This is not the first time that I have almost killed an elderly celebrity, and I will save that story for another time. But like, there are a lot of interactions I've had with elderly celebrities.
Can you make a note so we can get back
my
to that?
God.
I'm gonna make a note. I'm just gonna bring it up every week.